Ray, when he did that one video, if you've never seen that one video, it's like 32 minutes where he explains the history of money and finance and what's going on. If you, Bad boy, it's got like 20 or 30 million views. Very few 32-minute finance videos are going to have that many views. Everybody must watch it. But yeah, so how can you fix this thing? Well, my question would be, is it how do you fix this thing in a year? No one's going to know how to fix it because it's not going to happen. How do you address this and make progress towards, getting better over a 20-year span? Okay, now we're talking. 40-year span, even better. Then you have to forecast and see what solutions are going to be needed the next 20, 30, 40 years. The problem with America today is the following. Here's one of the problems with America, which, by the way, is a beautiful thing, but it's also a problem. Whoever that gets elected, we have cyclical cycles, okay? You got Carter gets elected, then it's Reagan Sr., then you have Clinton, then you have Bush, then you have Obama, then you have Trump, then you have Biden. So Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat. So every time you do this, every 8 years, the system is like changing. So cycles are changing. Whatever you're doing is changing. So you can't really consistently build on a philosophy over a 20-year period because in America, you can't put a 20-year plan in place. There is no such thing as a 20-year plan in America. Because whoever's the next guy that's going to come take your job is going to say, no, we're not building that wall. No, we're not going to do that. No, we're going to cut those benefits. No, we're going to add these benefits. No, we are going to spend more money. No, we are going to do that. No, we are going to leave this war. No, we are going to get into this war. These things, the complexity of what we're asking about is challenging because no one leader is going to run for 20 years. We just don't have that. Okay.
Would you want it?
In a way, when it comes down to the economy, yes, I would want it selfishly for me and you because we're alive today. Is it good for America long term? Absolutely not. Okay, absolutely not. Because if that one person's a shitty person that gets into office for 20 years, this thing's gone. It's destroyed. Okay, so at least this allows us to not be able to go super extreme because you have to get it through Congress and Senate, and it's already complicated enough to do that. But to fix this thing, you're never going to have both sides agree philosophically, economically on what they're going to be doing over a 20-year span. All right, let's go to the next side that we're talking about while all this stuff is going on. You have the war right now with China and India that is also taking place with iPhones are now being made in India. You can now get iPhones where on the back of it says made in India. First time. Not made in China. It says made in India. Really? Guess who blocked TikTok in their country? India. Guess who's blocked 100 apps of China? India. India is not afraid of China. Now, why does China not like India? Why do they always behind closed doors talk shit, yet at the same time they're part of BRICS? You got Brazil, you got Russia, you got India. You got China, and I think it's South Africa that's part of the BRICS, right? Okay. So they're part of the same thing, but there's also a way of, competing. The reason why I like India a lot, and I think India is going to play a very important role here, is because India has seen how China negotiated with U.S., and they've realized we're not doing that. But India has also seen the mistakes China made with the one-child rule and over-expansion and what's going on with a lot of these properties that they build out in cities that looks like just like Paris. I don't know if you've seen the city they build in China. It's a city. Everything Paris has, it has. It looks identical to Paris. If you Google
the same
this,
kind of architecture?
if I show you the picture, you would think it's Paris. They spend billions of their own money to build a city replicating exactly Paris. That's what China did, okay?
Wow.
So we're talking about, the whole everything. Everything they have a Champs-Élysées, same exact model that they have over there.
So
exactly. When you see the
bizarre.
pictures, like when we're done, I can't wait for you to see these pictures to see what that looks like. So China overexpanded very quickly. India's watching. China, they had their one-child policy. The average age of a Chinese right now is 38.4 years old. India is 27, 28.
Wow.
Okay. India's IIT Institute is producing incredible engineers. Many companies here will hire Indian engineers, and they're rock stars, better than MIT in many cases. So I think India is very important for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Very important. As long as India is there, China's going to hate it. They're not going to like it The fact that Tim Cook right now has got a very hard job. I think Tim Cook in a span of 4 weeks lost $350 billion of valuation for Apple in 4 weeks. $350 billion, okay? One, because iPhone 15 didn't do what they expected it to do. Two, because China is now giving them a hard time because China is their number one market of iPhones they sell. Now China's sitting there saying, wait a minute, we sell more iPhones in this country than anywhere else, yet you're giving our business to India? Who the hell do you think you are?
Right.
Then on the back end, the real war that's taking place is the semiconductor chips. And there's different levels to the semiconductor chips that's being built. And China's specialized in the cheapest kind to make, the easiest kind to make, where some countries have specialized on the tough kinds to make when it comes onto semiconductor chips. This is why China can't stand Taiwan being there. This is why China wants Taiwan, because Taiwan specializes in building the extremely technical semiconductor chips that the rest of the world uses. And then there's complete other aspects to this that you can get even deeper on. So Taiwan's going to play a very important role. You know, we can't have a Russia-Ukraine or a, Israel, Palestine, Gaza, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Turkey. We can't have that taking place with Taiwan. Taiwan needs to stay separate. That needs to stay protected. How we do that, I don't know how we're going to do that. We're getting involved in one too many wars. But if Taiwan stays free and China relies on them, because China destroyed the world during COVID, absolutely destroyed. We realize 80% of medications being built there, 80% of the technology that we need is being built there. They controlled everything. Car pricing, used prices went up 50%. Like, what are you talking about? You mean to tell me I bought this car for $90,000? It's used. You're willing to pay me $130,000? Yes. Are you serious? Yes. Why? We don't have chips to make cars. Are you kidding me? No. Rolexes, they were making Rolexes for 18 months. They didn't have equipment to make Rolexes. You go to a Rolex shop that had one watch. Like, what do you have? We only have one watch. Can I order Rolex? No. We're in 12 months. You're not going to get it. Are you serious? Yes, nothing. This is what was going on at Rolex store. So, again, the stuff that gets me optimistic is India, is Taiwan, is we're committed to the semiconductor business here. The things that concern me is China, is Erdogan wanting to be involved in the Israeli war, because most people don't realize the most powerful military in the Middle East is not Israel. Israel is powerful, but Israel has 300,000 soldiers, of which I think 150 is reserve. Turkey has nearly 400 active, 350,000 active soldiers, the number one military in the Middle East. If Turkey gets involved, so we have all these dead things that we're looking at. Obviously, the military-industrial complex, which Eisenhower talked about, where be careful with these companies like Raytheon and Boeing and General Dynamics and these guys that are making a lot of money when there's wars. We have to be careful with that taking place. We have to be very careful with that when that's taking place. But it's very complicated, very complex. Ray Dalio says a depression could be possibly around the corner. A lot of these guys are fearing what is taking place today. Michael Burry shorted the S&P 500, $1.6 billion of his clients' money. And now he did it in a way where, you're kind of protected, but still he's not optimistic about the S&P 500, what it's going to be doing. One too many moving parts for us to sit there. What will happen? The rich are still going to get rich. The innovators are still going to find a way to, win. The people who learn how to use AI on their side, they're going to advance and excel even more. The acceleration and the disparity between the rich and the poor is going to get wider and wider and wider. Why? Because most people are going to spend majority of their lives on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. They're not going to learn a new skill set. They're not studying AI right now. They're not studying technology right now. They're not learning new skill sets right now. Harvard Business Review did an article saying to stay competitive right now, every 18 months you have 10 new skill sets to learn as an executive. It wasn't like that. It used to be 10 new skill sets every 5 years. Now we have to learn 10 new skill sets every 18 months. How the hell do we keep up? So this is the part where, we talk about only the paranoid survive. Like right now, you have to be looking at this shit's out there. What part of it do I control? What part of it do I have no control over? If not a billionaire or a hecta or a decamillionaire, man, I got to figure out a way to increase my market value or else I'm going to get crushed. You're going to over the next 10, 20 years. If you're going to spend more time on Netflix, more time watching all these shows, more time playing all these games, more time watching all these TikTok, Instagram, if you're going to spend more time on that than building value for yourself and learning new skill sets, yes, the market's not going to favor you the next 18 to 36 months. But if you do that, fortunately for that community, they're going to be okay. This doesn't mean a recession is still not coming, though.
Okay, so let's start pulling apart some of the issues. So the geopolitical part of this comes down to, is there something that we can do to position ourselves? You were talking earlier about we create a matrix, and it's like, okay, do we go to war? How bad is it?
Yep.
Like all the different scenarios, and we run through them. But let's sort of put the pieces on the table. We have global conflict, and that's going to do what it's going to do. And we need to think about what the plan of attack is there, how we position ourselves well. We have the debt crisis, which is just probably the thing that weighs the heaviest on my mind. It seems the most inevitable. And because it's so in plain sight and not at all sexy, but nobody's freaking out, that one makes me the most nervous, because you can just run the math and it seems inevitable that things have to break for that to work. You've got what we'll call the Cold War of manufacturing and where that's going, Apple, China, India, all competing. But ultimately, how do people begin to actually put together a battle plan? So you had a really good video about advice for young men. And one of the things that you said was you need to be aware of what's going on. And I really woke up to that at the beginning of COVID. COVID was a grand moment where it's like, look behind the curtain, there's the Wizard of Oz. And I began to see how things were actually happening. That was very revelatory. And just as if you want to be an entrepreneur, the ironic advice that I'm going to give you is you need to learn about the body, because if you can get control of your body, if you can change your physique, you're going to find discipline, consistency. You're going to see that it really adds up to an actual transformation, and you can apply all of that to business. To business, to anything really. Once you begin to understand how the world actually works, now you can begin to position yourself to weather any storm. But you really do have to understand how the pieces move around the chessboard, how you're being manipulated. And it certainly has not then provided me a sense of clairvoyance and, I know exactly what to do, but I feel like it makes me ask a better caliber of question.
If you like that clip, check out another powerful clip right here, and I'll see you there.